so. Your eyes didn't drift toward warmth. They didn't get caught in the tangled roots. They didn't hesitate at the cold summit. They locked onto a throne made of solid gold, studded with gemstones, heavy, gleaming, obvious. You chose shine. You chose height. You chose the kind of presence that doesn't ask for permission. If Julius Caesar or Napoleon took this same personality test, they would sit nearby, very calmly, like it was always meant to be that way. Congratulations. You've stepped into the ruler archetype, or, in Jung's language, your dominant energy wants to structure chaos through power and visible success. But don't rush to straighten an imaginary crown, because gold is not just beautiful. Gold is heavy. And this choice says far more about you than you're ready to admit, even to yourself at 3 a.m. when the room is dark and the mind gets honest. So let's take your psyche apart, carefully, like loosening tiny screws one by one. And we'll begin with what's on the surface. Your purpose in this world, however dramatic that sounds, is to be the sun. You are not the kind of person who stays happy as the quiet power behind the throne, the gray advisor, the invisible gear inside someone else's system. Your mind demands scale. Your nervous system demands impact. You didn't choose this throne because you love money. Although, who are we kidding? You adore it. But money, for you, is not just comfort. It's a language, a clear, understandable language that says, I matter. Gold is the most obvious proof, the simplest proof, the loudest proof, and people who pick this throne often carry a natural magnetism. When you walk into a room, the energy shifts. Even if you say nothing, you somehow occupy the space. People look, people adjust, people feel it. They call it charisma. But in psychological terms, it's a powerful projection of life energy outward. You don't just exist, you radiate. You don't just enter, you arrive. And yes, you need the world to orbit you. Not because you're evil, not because you're empty, but because your psyche is built to test itself through reflection, through attention, through evidence. And honestly, you probably have everything it takes to make it happen. You're a born organizer, a decision maker, the one who takes responsibility while others hide their heads in the sand. But every crown has a cost. And this quick visual test just exposed your most sensitive point. Your Achilles heel is dependence on external approval. Jung wrote something that lands like a quiet hammer. What we do not make conscious appears in our lives as fate. And your unconscious fate is the endless chase for the pedestal. Because the golden throne is a symbol of the persona. In Jungian psychology, the persona is the social mask we wear so the world can recognize us, accept us, admire us. And for you, the mask didn't just sit on your face, it fused. You've lived so long as the successful one, the strong one, the main one, that you may have forgotten how to be simply human, weak, tender, uncertain, alive. Here's the fear underneath the gold, that if someone stripped away the titles, the status, the achievements, they might find emptiness. And that fear becomes fuel. It drives you to earn, to build, to conquer, to scale, whether that means running companies, climbing ladders, or at the very least becoming the unstoppable leader of whatever room you're in. Yes, even the parent committee at school. You don't know how to be second. For you, second place feels like first among losers, and that is both your tragedy and your triumph. Now let's talk about who you are in work and career. People of the Golden Throne are not built to be just executors. Even if right now you're employed in a regular position, something inside you is quietly revolting. You suffer, physically, emotionally, when someone orders you around, especially when you believe they're less capable than you. And given your, let's be honest, pride, you probably think most people are weaker than you. Your leadership style tends to be authoritarian or protective but commanding. You're the boss parent type. You can hand out a bonus like a king gifting land. And you can bite someone's head off if they violate hierarchy. You respect structure, and you demand respect. You also love grand gestures. If you treat friends, you treat them like royalty, sometimes spending an entire paycheck just to create a moment. If you give a gift, you want the room to go silent for half a second so everyone can think, wow. Because for you, it's not enough to do something. It has to mean something. It has to leave an impression. Sometimes you care more about impact than efficiency, yet people like you move the world because you don't tolerate mediocrity. You care how the world looks and who stands at the center of it. And if this is hitting a little too accurately, if you feel this test pressing on tender points inside you, there's something I'll say bluntly, because you understand value and exchange. If you want to thank the Creator for this uncomfortable truth, YouTube has a feature called Super Thanks under the video. For your archetype, generosity can be another way to confirm status and magnitude. Kings don't bargain with self-knowledge. Support the channel. And yes, the universe counts the gesture. Now, let's go deeper. Into the darker basement. Your hidden strength is your ability to keep a calm face in total chaos. When other people panic, cry, freeze, or call their mother, something in you clicks. You put on an invisible crown. You straighten your back, and you start issuing orders. People lean on you. They feel safe near you because your presence suggests control. You project reliability. But here's the question you avoid. Who supports you? The answer is simple and sad. No one. Because you don't allow strong people to stand beside you. You interpret their strength as competition, so you often end up lonely at the top, even if you're surrounded by admirers, applause, attention. The loneliness of the king is the tax you pay for power. Jung said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." You struggle to open up because you convinced yourself, kings don't cry. Now, relationships. Here, yet your character shows itself in full color. You don't want a partner, you want a court, or, at best, a favorite. You seek someone who admires you, reflects your light, supports your reign, but doesn't overshadow you. If a partner competes with you for attention or authority in the home, it becomes war. And you don't take prisoners. It's hard for you to admit mistakes, to say, "I was wrong, I'm sorry." For someone of the golden throne, those words can feel like abdication. So instead, you might drown your partner in gifts, book a luxury trip, maybe somewhere like the Maldives, renovate the house, solve problems, provide, but avoid the simple vulnerability that would actually heal the relationship. Think about that. Maybe this visual test is a signal that it's time to loosen your grip just a little and allow the people you love to be right sometimes, too. And there's another extreme we have to name. Sometimes people choose the golden throne not because they are leaders, but because they are overcompensating. In real life, you might feel small, ignored, pushed around, quiet, invisible. But in fantasy, you rule the universe. If that's you, this choice is your soul screaming, "I deserve more. I want to be seen." In that case, gold becomes armor, something you want to hide behind, to to defend yourself from a cruel world. You might dream of power to punish those who hurt you, or to prove something, especially to a parent. Look, I'm worth something. That path is dangerous. Jung warned that pride often comes right before a fall. If you build your throne out of resentment and complexes, it collapses the moment a real storm hits. Now your real hidden talent. It sits in responsibility. You see the big picture. While others drown in details, you see strategy. You're a visionary. You can see potential where others see ruins. You can take a failing project and make it profitable through sheer belief and will. You're an alchemist, turning the lead of problems into the gold of success. But only under one condition. You must learn to delegate. Because the golden trap is this thought. If you want it done right, do it yourself. That's a lie that burns kings alive. A true ruler governs through others. A true ruler doesn't dig trenches with their own hands. If you're exhausted, it may be because you forgot what a throne is for. It's for direction, not for endless labor. And now money, because we can't avoid it. For you, money is not survival, not even comfort. It's points in a game, evidence, proof. You like brands, status objects, VIP rooms because they speak your language, and there's nothing wrong with that. Unless you start measuring human beings by the price of their watch. Your secret desire is unlimited resources to build something massive. Build a city? Sure. Go to space? Put me on the list. Your appetite for life is enormous. But remember King Midas. He loved gold too. And we all remember how that ended. Don't turn everything living around you into a golden statue. People are not valuable because they are useful to you. They are valuable because they have a soul. Now we're approaching the most important insight for the golden throne. If you've listened this far and you recognize yourself, it means you have the courage to face the mirror. That deserves respect. So let's do a small check-in, because this is also a community. Type a plus sign in the comments or leave any crown emoji. Just a second. So we know you're here with us. So we know you're strong enough for the final, hardest piece. Did you do it? Good. Now the truth that might sting. The greatest danger of the golden throne is losing contact with reality. You can surround yourself with people who nod at everything you say, while you steer your ship straight into the rocks. Your Jungian shadow is the tyrant, the spoiled child in a crown, stomping a foot when denied candy. Under stress, you can become unbearable. You may humiliate people, devalue their work, believe only you matter, and everyone else is lazy, useless, beneath you. That road leads to self-destruction. Real self-knowledge begins when you understand this. Your value is not in the throne. Your value is in you, even if you're sitting on a cheap stool in ripped jeans. The throne is inside. True power is power over your impulses, your ego, your hunger to prove. Jung said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens." It's time to wake up and realize you don't have to prove anything to deserve love and respect. Take off the heavy crown, at least at home. Let your neck rest. Allow yourself the luxury of being a human being. Some people will feel disappointed. I thought they'd tell me I'm great, and instead they exposed my complexes. But remember, this was a magical choice. By choosing gold, you chose transformation. You chose the path of turning the lead of ego into the clean gold of spirit. It's hard, but it's real. And if you walk it, you become something rare. Not a ruler of others, but a ruler of yourself. So, you walked past the gold. The shine didn't hook you. The gemstones didn't hypnotize you. The obvious status didn't call your name. And you didn't choose the cold peak either. Your gaze stopped on something older than ambition. A throne woven from thick, ancient tree roots, twisting into each other and sinking deep into the earth, like the throne wasn't built by human hands, but grown by nature itself. You chose connection. You chose depth. You chose memory. Welcome home, old soul. If the golden throne is the rule of space, dominance, visibility, expansion, then your throne is the rule of time. This test reveals an archetype Jung often linked to the Great Mother or the Wise Old One, regardless of your age, gender, or what your ID says. You are a keeper, a guardian of lineage. But just like gold has weight, roots have shadows, and roots can become a labyrinth underground, so deep you can lose yourself there forever. So take a breath. We're taking a lantern of psychoanalysis and walking down into the damp, fascinating basement of your psyche. Let's begin with who you are in the system of the universe. People who choose roots often feel older than their peers. Even as a child, you may have watched other kids run around, fight over nonsense, chase attention, and you felt a quiet confusion, as if you'd already lived 10 lifetimes before you even got here. Your psyche is a collector. You don't skim the surface. You absorb. History matters to you. Tradition. Continuity. What came before? You might be the kind of person who keeps an old dish set from a grandmother, not because it's expensive, maybe it's not worth a single dollar on the market, but because it carries something priceless. It was touched by the hands of the people who made you possible. And that detail says something powerful. Your throne wasn't built, it was grown. And that suggests your sense of legitimacy, your right to stand strong in this life, doesn't come from diplomas, job titles, or bank accounts. It comes from the fact that you exist, from the fact that you were born. You feel the breath of generations behind you, and that gives you a stability that's hard to shake. While other people sway like branches in the wind, you hold fast to the core of the earth. Your destiny in this world is to be a bridge. Past to future. Ancestor to child. In a modern world where people change jobs, cities, identities, and relationships like outfits, you're the oak on the hill that stands for 300 years. People come to you not for money, like they come to the gold throne type, but for something else. Wisdom. Comfort. Grounding. When you're near, people feel their nervous system slow down. Pulse steadies. The noise of life becomes less dramatic. You have a natural healer's presence, not necessarily as a doctor, more like a healer of souls. Sometimes your presence alone is enough to stop someone's panic spiral. But here's the truth we have to say bluntly. This gift has a price, and this test shows the price clearly. Your greatest struggle is not knowing how to let go. Roots are beautiful when they feed you, but roots can also become chains. Jung wrote something that hits hard. A tree cannot grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. And you know that hell well. You carry old grief, old wounds, generational pain, tears that were never cried by the people before you, so you carry them in your body like inherited weather. You may live out family scripts without realizing it. In our family, women endure. In our family, men don't dance. They work. In our family, you stay loyal no matter what. These beliefs sit so deep you think they're your thoughts, but often they are not. They're the voices of ghosts perched in the branches of your family tree. And until you make that conscious, you're not truly living. You're functioning like an archive. Now, relationships. This is where you become intense. For the roots throne type, family is not a label. It's a clan, a tribe. Sometimes, yes, almost a mafia, in both the best and worst sense. My blood, my people. Those words mean something sacred to you. You will defend your own with the fury of a bear protecting cubs, even if the person you love is wrong, even if they crossed a line, even if everyone else would abandon them. Your loyalty is enormous, but there's a boundary that matters. If someone tries to enter your inner circle without permission, or disrespect your traditions, or violate the invisible rules of your clan, you become ice-cold and dangerous in a different way, because you are deeply conservative, not politically necessarily, but emotionally and spiritually. You value what lasts. In love, you don't seek fireworks. You seek foundation. You want a partner you can grow old with, not just sleep with. A partner you can share a life with so fully that even the ending feels connected. It sounds intense in a world addicted to novelty, but for you, that intensity is romance, loyalty to the grave. However, your shadow lives here too, the devouring mother, the tyrannical father, not because you're evil, because your care can become control. You want to protect people so much, you might lock them in a tower for their own good. You can use guilt as a weapon. Even if you never say it out loud, the thought can live inside you. After everything I've done for you, it becomes hard for you to accept that your children, your partner, even your closest friends, are separate beings. They are branches, yes, but not possessions. So when they try to drift away, to explore, to live differently, you may feel it as betrayal. And you risk becoming the relative whose phone call makes everyone tense up, because they know it will be an hour of lectures, worries, and emotional weight. Now listen carefully. If you feel discomfort right now, if your chest tightened, if your mind went quiet, this is a good sign. It means the psychology is working. It means we touched something real. So let's do a quick ritual of awareness. If you resonate with this keeper energy, this heavy strength, pause for 1 second and comment roots, or even just write tree. It's our sign that you feel your connection, but you're willing to keep growing upward toward the sun, not only downward into the dark. I see your forest. Good. Now we go deeper. Your purpose is to transform the past into wisdom, not into a dusty museum. You struggle with change, and I'll say it plainly. Change scares you. You resist new technology, new trends, new rules, new ways of living. Your favorite sentence might be, "Back then, it was better." But here's the problem. If a tree stops growing and renewing its leaves, it dries out. Even if the trunk looks strong, your task is to become flexible, because the strongest trees break in hurricanes, and the willow survives. You need air in your life, permission to break tradition, permission to be the black sheep if it makes you honest. Sometimes betraying the past in order to build your future is the only way to save the family line from repeating the same suffering. Now, money and career. You are a marathon runner. This test shows you don't believe in easy money. Lottery tickets, get rich quick, overnight hype, one-day schemes. Not for you. You believe in what can be touched. Land, real estate, gold as a metal, not as a symbol. You build to last. If you create a business, it tends to be fundamental. Construction, production, education, healthcare, anything with roots. You want what you do to survive you. You can be an incredible mentor. You often become a parental figure at work. But be careful. Don't turn the workplace into a family, because then you can't make hard decisions. Firing someone can feel like murder to you. You'll carry dead weight for years out of guilt or duty. You must learn to separate. Here are roots. Here are business processes. Now the mystical side, because yes, it exists here. People of the roots throne often have intense intuition, but not airy intuition, not flashy. Your intuition lives in the body. You feel danger in your stomach. You get dreams, especially dreams involving deceased relatives. That doesn't mean you're crazy. It means you're tuned in. You are a heavy empath. You absorb other people's pain like a sponge. And that's why nature isn't optional for you. Not sitting on a bench in a park once a month. I mean real contact. Forest, mountains, dirt, gardening, touching living things. The earth recharges you. If you live in a concrete box on the 25th floor and you don't touch nature for weeks, your system starts to malfunction. You get sick, tired, dull. You need living ground like other people need sunlight. Walk barefoot on grass sometimes. Plant something. Care for a dog. Get your hands dirty. It's not woo. It's psychological safety equipment for your nervous system. Your hidden talents are patience and regeneration. You can be cut down to a stump, and the next spring, a green, stubborn shoot rises again. You are hard to destroy. In a crisis, while the gold throne type panics about status and the ice throne type spirals into meaninglessness, you plant potatoes, survive, and somehow save everyone else. You are the salt of the earth. You hold reality together. But there's a trap. You're prone to resentment. And for you, resentment can be a way to stay connected. As long as I'm mad at you, we're still tied together. Let it go. Jung said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Stop being a prisoner of biography. Roots are not meant to trap you in one place. Roots exist to feed the crown, the part of you that reaches for the sky. Your task is to grow spiritually while standing on the experience of matter. Become a sage, not a bitter guardian. Become a keeper, not a jailer. Your secret desire is safety and immortality. Not literal immortality, but to know that when you're gone, something remains. A home, a garden, a book. Children raised with love, a life that mattered. You fear being forgotten more than you fear dying. Breathe. People like you do not vanish. You grow inside others. But to grow into something beautiful, your energy must be love, not control. So check your roots. Is there rot down there? Old resentments poisoning the sap? If yes, take the axe of awareness and cut. It will hurt, but it will save the whole tree. Be the first in your lineage who was happy, not just someone who survived. Your throne is the most reliable. It won't melt in fire. It won't fade with trends. But even the oldest oak needs fresh air and the rain of change sometimes. Let it in. And now, we move to the third throne. If gold is fire and roots are earth, then the next choice is distilled cold. Many people think the ice throne is for heartless egoists. Oh, how wrong they are. Under ice, the hottest volcanoes can sleep, and Jung would call this choice the most dangerous for sanity and the most attractive for genius. Ready to freeze emotion so you can see truth? Then put on your mental winter coat. We're climbing to the peak. You walked past warmth. You ignored the shine. You didn't want to dig in the roots. Instead, you lifted your head. saw a bright, merciless peak, and something inside you said, "Up there." You chose the ice throne. Welcome to the fortress of solitude. At first glance, people assume this choice belongs to cold, heartless types, ice queens, night kings, emotionless cynics. That's the convenient lie. A lie you may even tell yourself, because the truth is sharper. The ice throne is usually chosen by those who feel too much, so much that it once nearly burned them alive. And at some point, maybe quietly, maybe after a betrayal, maybe after years of carrying more than you could hold, your system made a decision. Enough. You turned on the intercooling system. You chose intellect over heartbreak. You chose clarity over chaos. In Jungian terms, this points to the archetype of the thinker, the philosopher, the strategist, someone who looks down at human drama from a high altitude. But Jung also warned, woe to the person who tries to live on reason alone. So today, we're going to name why your throne is so brutally cold, even if you're the smartest person in the room. Let's define who you are in this chaotic world. You are the observer, and your superpower is distance. You can step out of a situation and watch it from the outside, like a surgeon watching a body on the table. While the gold throne type panics about status, and the roots throne type bleeds in family stories, you analyze facts. Your mind is a blade. You crave clarity. And ice is the perfect symbol for you. Transparent, structured, clean, crystalline. You want your life to be like that. Understandable, logical, controlled. You hate chaos. You hate drama. You hate emotional outbursts that crash into the room like storms. For you, emotions can feel like bugs in the system, errors in the code that make everything run inefficiently. So you prefer the summit, not because you want to dominate people, but because you want to dominate truth. You want to understand how things work. And here's the irony. The higher you climb the mountain of knowledge, the thinner the oxygen gets, and the farther you drift from living, breathing humans. Your true purpose is to be an architect of meaning. You're the kind of person who pushes science forward, designs complex systems, writes philosophy, builds strategies that change history. Your brain is an asset. You can see patterns where others only see noise. You are a seeker of truth. But truth is not gentle. Truth often demands sacrifice. And the sacrifice you've paid might be this: your ability to enjoy simple life. While others dance, drink wine, fall in love, laugh without analyzing the evolutionary purpose. You sit on your ice throne and think, what is the point of this? It's just chemistry, just hormones, just brain circuits. You rationalize life instead of living it. Jung warned that reason left alone builds glass castles where no one can breathe. And you may have built a magnificent ice palace. But tell me honestly, isn't it lonely in there? Because this test exposes your deepest pain. Fear of vulnerability. Ice is frozen water. And in psychology, water is emotion. Your emotions didn't disappear. You froze them so they couldn't hurt you again. Maybe in childhood you were punished for crying. Maybe you learned early that softness is dangerous. Maybe you experienced betrayal that cracked your world, and you swore no one would ever have that power over you again. So you became armored. You wear cynicism like a coat, and you repeat certain mantras, sometimes out loud, sometimes silently. Love is just chemistry. People are robots. Life has no meaning. Sound familiar? You hide behind sarcasm and intelligence. You are hard to wound, because you decide in advance that the person trying to wound you is an idiot unworthy of your emotional response. But under that ice, there's an ocean. And sometimes the ice cracks, panic attacks, sudden rage, a deep, black melancholy that arrives for no reason. Those are messages. Your unconscious is screaming, "Let me out. I'm alive." Now let's talk relationships. This is complicated territory for you. You're attracted to intelligence. You can get bored with someone you can't think with. A beautiful body means nothing if there's emptiness behind the eyes. You want depth, ideas, silence that feels intelligent, conversations that could last until 2 a.m. But being in a relationship with you can feel like hugging an iceberg. Partners often complain, "You don't hear me. You're like a robot. You don't care." And the truth? You do care. You just express love through problem solving, not through warm performance. Why bring flowers? They die. Instead, you fix the laptop, optimize the taxes, create solutions. In your language, that is devotion. But humans are emotional systems. They need warmth. And if you never learn to melt your ice and descend from your peak, you risk ending in perfect, sterile intellectual isolation. Jung spoke of the conflict between logos and eros, reason and feeling. In you, logos won by knockout, and eros is still breathing, but barely. It needs revival, before it's too late. And yes, if this analysis feels valuable, I'll name it directly, because the Ice Throne respects honesty and exchange. These deep breakdowns require real mental labor. If you want to support the work, YouTube has super thanks under the video. For rational types like you, it's simple. We bring insight. You fuel the engine. Fair exchange. Now career. Your destiny in work is to become an expert. You don't love managing people. People are unpredictable. You love managing processes, systems, data, ideas. You're an ideal crisis manager. Surgeon, pilot, programmer, analyst, strategist. Where cold focus is required, you shine. You don't panic. You look for the solution. But here's your professional distortion. Perfectionism. Ice must be flawless. The tiniest crack irritates you. You demand too much from yourself, and then you project that onto others. You don't forgive mistakes. If I can work 24 hours and not complain, why can't they? Because they are not sitting on the ice throne, my friend. They are human, and you must learn compassion for human imperfection, or you will end up alone in a flawless office with no one left to stand beside you. Your hidden strength is honesty. The ice throne does not tolerate lies. You read people like a scanner reads a barcode. Flattery doesn't work on you. Manipulation is transparent. You're the friend who tells the truth even when it's brutal, and that's a gift. But learn to deliver truth like medicine, not like an ice pick to the skull. Truth without love becomes cruelty. This test reveals another detail. You probably love minimalism. Your home may look like an operating room or a Scandinavian loft. Light, clean, few objects, no clutter. It's the external projection of your mind. You clear space so nothing distracts you. But ask yourself, has your life become too sterile? Has it turned into a waiting room? Many ice-throne people live in their head, planning life, analyzing life, but not participating in it. You study the hydrodynamics of water instead of jumping in and swimming. Jung would say you're trapped in sensory deprivation. You must return to the body. Movement, sport, sex, dance, fighting, anything that reminds you. You are made of flesh and bone, not only neurons and data. Your secret desire is to find an equal. You are lonely on the summit. You dream of meeting someone who can climb your mountain without choking, someone who speaks your language and isn't afraid of your cold, someone who sees the passion behind it. Because when ice melts, it becomes the wildest river. You are capable of deep, loyal love, but to reach it, you must risk something you hate. Softness. You must admit you are not a god. You are a person. You get hurt. You need warmth. And descending from the mountain is not failure. It's return. If this Snow King/Snow Queen archetype is you, if you recognize your Tower of Ivory, let's do a quick proof of life. Comment a snowflake, an ice symbol, or simply type ice. Yes, I know you think comments are pointless. Yes, you think it's for the crowd. But step over your pride. It's one small act of contact. A step back toward the world. I see your snowflakes. The air got colder through the screen. Good. Now, we move to the final throne, and I know what you're thinking. After gold, roots, and ice, the fourth option looks pathetic. A rough wooden throne by a fireplace. Seriously? Many people laugh. They think real power is in the first three. But Jung would argue, very harshly, that the quietest, simplest choice often hides the most destructive or the most healing force. And if you dismiss it, you may miss the secret you've been chasing your whole life. Ready for a truth that might bruise the ego, but heal the soul. Then come closer to the fire. We begin the final. You looked at the gold and felt it was too loud, too theatrical, too thirsty. You looked at the roots and felt it was too heavy, too deep, too binding. You looked at the ice and shivered, too cold, too far from life. And then you approached something simple, almost rough. A plain wooden throne, imperfectly built, standing beside a warm fireplace, and something in you said, This is mine. Many people would call this a lack of ambition. A success-obsessed world would say you gave up. But this psychological test reveals the opposite. You didn't give up. You won. You won the hardest war, the war against borrowed values. You chose the hearth. This is the archetype of the realist, the keeper of warmth, the peaceful warrior who hung the sword on the wall because they learned the real price of blood. In Jung's terms, this can signal a movement toward the self through simplicity and integration. You didn't choose power over millions. You didn't choose power over history. You didn't choose power over truth. You chose power over your own inner world. And believe me, holding that power is sometimes harder than running an empire. So let's be honest. Who are you in this life? You're someone who values emotional and physical comfort more than status games. You can't be bought with a brand name, a title, or a certificate. You might be the person who would refuse a CEO role if it meant working 7 days a week and never seeing your kids. You know the taste of life. While the Golden Throne type swallows oysters in a hurry while negotiating deals, you drink tea slowly and actually taste it. You feel the notes, the warmth, the moment. This isn't laziness. This is a kind of wisdom. Your throne is near fire. Fire symbolizes life, warmth, transformation. You are a point of gravity. Notice the difference. People go to the Golden Throne for money. They go to roots for advice. They go to ice for truth. They come to you to be warmed, to remember they're alive. You create atmosphere. Your home can become a fortress, yet not a military fortress. A mental refuge. A portal where there are no wars, no deadlines, no constant emergencies. That's a powerful gift. But let's name the shadow behind it. The part cozy blogs don't talk about. Your purpose is harmonization. You're the tuning fork of normal. In a world that's going insane, someone has to remain calm, steady, kind. That might be you. But this test exposes your biggest vulnerability: fear of the larger world. Often the hearth throne is chosen not by people who reached Zen, but by people who hid. Your shadow is the small person, the one who stays inside the safe shell because stepping out feels too risky. You might justify passivity with the philosophy of happiness in little things. And that philosophy can be true. But deep inside, another thought may exist. What if I can't compete? So you convince yourself you don't want more. So you don't have to feel the pain of not achieving more. That is the comfort trap. The hearth can warm you, or it can sedate you. Jung warned that the person who avoids life is already dead. So ask yourself quietly, has your cozy throne become a soft couch you've grown into? Has safety become a prison? Now relationships. Here you are, gold, but in a different sense. Your love is old-fashioned. Care is your love language. You wrap a blanket around someone. You cook soup. You listen. When people are near you, their body relaxes. But there's danger in being so soothing. You can become too convenient, and people get used to kindness, and some start wiping their feet on those who are too soft. You can be taken for granted, like furniture. Oh, they'll understand. They'll tolerate it. They won't leave. Your goodness can be mistaken for weakness. So sometimes you need to take the iron poker from the fireplace and remind the world, fire doesn't only warm, fire burns. You must learn boundaries. Your throne is wooden, yes, but it should never become a doormat. Self-respect begins with one skill: saying no, even to people you love, when they violate your peace. Now, money and career. Your character shows up through stability and craft. You don't need billions if earning them requires selling your soul. You often choose work connected to helping people, service, craftsmanship, creativity. You might be a brilliant baker, teacher, designer, therapist, or simply a happy freelancer. What matters is seeing your labor create something real. I made this with my hands or my mind, and it brought someone joy. That can matter more to you than a number in an account. But there's a risk here. You underestimate yourself. Imposter syndrome visits often. You hesitate to charge what you deserve because it's not that hard for me. Listen closely. What comes easily to you is often your talent. And talent is expensive. Stop devaluing your work. Cozy also costs money. Now your secret desire. This is almost funny in how honest it is. You want everyone to leave you alone. Seriously. Your deepest dream is a world without constant demands, calls, pressure, a cabin in the woods, a hobby, people you love nearby. You might be an introvert who can perform extroversion, but your battery charges only in quiet. And that's normal. But the test is whispering something else. Are you hiding your large potential behind that desire for peace? Often, the wooden throne is chosen by burned pilots, people who once burned hot, got hurt, crashed, chose gold or ice, got exhausted, and now they blow on the water because they're afraid of fire. You chose rest as medicine, and rest can be holy. But it must not become permanent hiding. Humans aren't made for endless rest. You need a calling that ignites you without consuming you. A quiet purpose. Jung called it the individuation process. Becoming yourself. You cannot become yourself by sitting by the fireplace forever. Sometimes you must walk into the forest where wolves exist, not to be attacked, to remember you're alive. Your hidden talents are empathy and community building. People gather around your fire. You are social glue. Without gold types, the world wouldn't advance. Without ice types, it would stay foolish. Without root types, it would collapse. And without you, it would be cold. You give the world soul. You can feel joy in simple things: rain smell, a child's laugh, a good book, a quiet morning. Most people lost that ability. They chase the horizon. You're already here. You can be happy if you stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. The moment you look at the golden neighbor and think, maybe I'm a failure, your fire dims. Don't look. They have demons. You have your own paradise. And yes, if you want to support the warmth of this shared hearth, YouTube has super thanks under the video. For your archetype, gratitude feels natural. It's not required. But it's deeply meaningful to know the work reached you. Thank you to everyone who keeps this fire alive. So, hearth keepers, did you recognize yourself? This can be bitter if you realized you've been hiding, or sweet if you realized your life is a conscious choice, not defeat. If you're proud of your choice, if the weather inside your home matters more than the weather on the stock market, comment a fire symbol, a house, or simply type hearth. Let's show how many of us exist, the ones who keep the world warm. Your fire can be seen from far away.